evening, good evening. I want to welcome you to tonight's edition. Oh, you know what? I forgot to hold on just a second. Let me turn my TV down because it is truly going forth. Just a moment. In the meantime, I'm gonna let you look at the screen share and see what our scriptures are tonight, and I'll be right back with you. Thank you so much. I was in with Dr. Dady and enjoying her stream that she's got going tonight. So I still had my TV running and just forgot to turn it off. But I wanted to keep her up. She's still posted up in my queue because I want to continue to give her my support. Listen, truck driver, I want to say good evening to you, and you are so welcome for all the prayers, and we will continue to pray and lift you up because I'm looking for a full recovery and even a better outcome after than you had before you had the little sick spell. So I'm looking for great things to happen out of the midst of this. Cassandra Isaiah, I see you out there tonight. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you for coming in the house. Nothing but mad love to you. I appreciate you. I see, let's see, KB Browns. That's my brother. He's in the house, and it's good to see you, my brother. Nothing but mad love to you as well. Now, again, I had to run real quick. Dr. Dady Priest is having a special session on tonight where they're talking about the current events and what's going on, and she has a special guest in there with her. So if you are one of those that tabs people up, go ahead and tab her up. Give her your support, give her your number in the midst to help give her a good strong a showing out there in the algorithms. Now, I went ahead and put this up while I stepped away. Today, we're going to be talking about moral instructions. We are still in the book of Leviticus. It talks about nakedness and immorality, familiar spirits, a national feast day instructions, Passover, unleavened bread, and first fruits. Now, believe it or not, what I'm going to really focus on tonight is going to be item number 2B, familiar spirits, which is located in Leviticus 20, verses 1 through 6, and also verse 27. But while you're looking, nakedness and immorality, I tell people all the time, naked we came into this world and naked we shall return. I don't have a problem with people's nakedness, other than that we have come up with our own ideas of what we consider to be lewd and inappropriate. And so for that reason, I do govern myself accordingly. My mother said, I truly am of my father's side of the family because, baby, we listen, what do they say? Take it off, take it off, take it off. I don't have a problem with that. Nonetheless, and I even go back to the idea, we are now. That being said, let me say, and my father was the only male in a house full of 4 women because he had his wife and 3 daughters, no sons. And everything was done decently and in order for anybody whose mind's gonna start roaming here and there. My father, I can tell you, never was seen without his clothing on because he was in, other than my mother, in their bedroom, of course, in the privacy of their space. But he was very, very careful about his 3 daughters. And basically, let me tell you this, and I appreciate this about him. He said, I'm going to carry myself in a way that I let you know what a gentleman, what a real man is like. And that's exactly what he did. I'm here to tell you. And I appreciate him. He was very, very careful about how he manifested in front of us because he wanted us to know what a real man looked like. And I appreciate that. So in saying that, let me cover my tracks in not, some folks got an imagination, what they say is just my imagination running away with me. Some folks will be all over the place with that. However, back to my point, I don't have a problem with no clothes. That's what I was saying. And his family is pretty much of that energy. However, my mother is the exact opposite, or was the exact opposite. And honey, they was gonna cover. It's really sad. We have to do these disclaimers in this day and age. Dalen, I'm telling you, you have to, because people's minds will go all over the place. Somebody liable to, put up a post and say, I think spiritual thought leaders' family was incestuous. So I have to go back and do these disclaimers so we can keep people's minds right. But nonetheless, when we talk about the fact that our issues with nakedness, I'm going to say this, and some people can't handle it, but this is what I believe. Our issues with nakedness came from that corrupted psychology, because if you remember, when God made Adam and Eve, they were naked and they were not ashamed. The shame came after they had sinned. So the nakedness is not the issue. The issue is all of the other things that go on internally inside people's minds and hearts and attitudes. And that becomes the issue. And you need to deal with the issue, but the issue is really not the nakedness. The issue is whatever else is conjuring up in your spirit that is not uh, holy and oh God. And at the end of the day, there you have it. Now, that being said, let me say this. Since I done come over here, because I'm out here now, cheering, I'm out here now. Some of us need to be careful how we raise our children along this real strict mindset of nakedness and the rules and regulations and this and that and the other, for two reasons. One reason is that the thing that you keep telling a child they can't do, the issue is always sin. KB Browns, the issue is always sin. What you tell a child they can't do, the mystery of what you keep telling them they can't do is exactly what they gonna go out there and try to do. Y'all, I mean, it's almost like human psychology. The thing that you tell someone they cannot have, that's what they're going to invariably fixate on and always try to get out there and sneak and get it. And then secondly, can I come here? Can I really come here? Because the marriage bed is undefiled. Then some of y'all get married and have all kind of issues because you've taught the children in such a dogmatic way that when it's time for them to consummate the marriage and enjoy the pleasures of the marriage bed, they're frigid and everything else because you done made them scared to get out there and have relationship in a healthy way. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. So we have to pay attention to how we get into certain scenarios. Dalen, it's the sin of the father mentality. Sometimes people transfer their issues or trauma from a situation onto an innocent situation that a child may be doing out of natural curiosity. Come on with that, Dalen. That's why the spirit is leading you to discuss familiar spirits. Come on, come on. Get your want to save so you can think righteous and holy. Come on. Get your want saved so you can think righteous and holy. So there's balance, people. There's balance. And I'm telling you, listen, I've seen some things. I've seen some things. And at the end of the day, since I'm here, let me just go ahead and address it, because I've seen people in relationship that, we do the big issue with no sex before marriage, and then folks hook up and get married, and then after they get married, they realize my spouse has a problem with taking off her clothes. And then you get mad because he's going down to Sally's house because you won't take off your drawers. So, there's so many levels and so many layers to what creates problems for us out of the church realm and out of religious teachings that can really, really get imbalanced. And then we wonder why we have problems. So at the end of the day, I'm again just stating the point that we've got to address even these areas with some balance, and we need to really think about how we present things, even when you start talking about laws of morality, nakedness, and immorality. And I'm going to say this one last thing, and I'm going to get out of here. What you do in the privacy of your bedroom is between two consenting adults. Nobody else has anything to say about what you're doing. Hello. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. So this is where, this is why and where I think, some of these things, come on, truck driver, that part. because some people, you got preachers and missionary by and everybody else up in your business that has no place in your business, because the Bible clearly says the marriage bed is undefiled, which means that whatever y'all consent to in your marriage bed, that's between you two and nobody else. So at the end of the day, we've twisted so many things, and we've twisted so many people's hearts, so many people's minds, so many people's sexuality, so many people. I mean, it's sad. So and I know what I'm talking about, because I'm not getting ready to put anybody's business in the street, but please believe me when I've talked to many. I've talked to several folks who exactly what I'm addressing here is an issue. So I want us to, we talk about real life stuff. So there's no point in beating around the bush and being timid to talk about real talk, because we have to have a balance even in this area. All right. And by all means, your intimacy with one another. Please teach on this because people need guidance. Absolutely stay lifted. There's nothing wrong with you enjoying your sexual self. Hello. There is, God gave it to us for pleasure, for enjoyment, for intimacy, for bonding, for coming together. There is absolutely positively nothing wrong with enjoying yourself with your partner. So, all of these places that we go in, dark places, and this is taboo, and this can't be done, and that can't be done. Again, it's a matter of consenting adults. And I'll say this because, listen, I've known wives of preachers that have been raped because the wife didn't want to have relations, but the husband forced her to, and it's still rape. If she's saying, no, I don't want it, and especially a lot of times those scenarios have other factors that go along with that. This my wife, I can't rape my wife. Yes, you can. This is my husband, I can't rape my husband. Yes, you can. Because when I want it, she got to give it. No, she doesn't. We're not chattel slaves here. We are human beings, and we have the ability to say yay and nay. Now, no means no. I don't care who it is. And whatever God created, he said it was good, KB Browns. It was good. And if you do it right, it's very good. So, this is an area that I see you, Crystal Method. This is an area that we really need to have clarity on, because we have made people fearful. And it should not be the case. We have made people feel condemned, and it should not be the case. And I just saw a video. Some people may think I'm just out here babbling about something out in Never Never Land, but I want you to understand that at the end of the day, I just heard a whole woman's sermon about this. The pastor who took on a whole text about oral sex and how wrong it was from the pulpit. But and I'm talking about between married people, so I'm not even outside the bonds of marriage for folks that are tripping on that. But at the end of the day, whatever two consenting adults agree to, the Bible said the marriage bed is undefiled. Now, if you got to hang up, if you have an issue, but let me tell you what, I know folks that have an issue with taking off their underwear in the bed with their own mate. Now, something wrong. Y'all not ready for me. Will not take off their drawers with their own mate. So, but this is where I'm talking about. We will beat and bash people to a level that when you should have a place of liberty and freedom, because who else should you enjoy more than your spouse and your partner? But you sitting here with your drawers on. Listen, listen, truck driver, I'm talking about what I know. I'm talking about what I should know. This ain't no I think and I heard. I'm talking about what I know. And at the end of the day, I'm like, what are we doing? So, these are areas that is just really quite amazing. But then again, it's not, because I know when you've come from very strict backgrounds where this has been grilled and drilled into you, even though that person may be your spouse, because it's grilled and drilled in you doesn't just make you drop those barriers. Those barriers are still there. and the person cannot enjoy the full bonds of marriage because mentally they're struggling with all of this that we've indoctrinated them with that ain't got nothing to do with the hill of beans. And you ain't got to talking about nobody going downtown. You can't even get no tongue. I'm talking about these. I'm talking real talk. I'm talking lit in a nun outfit. So, and then at the end of the day, we wonder, and I'm talking real talk, and I may be, I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is real talk. And at the end of the day, we wonder why people are having problems with securing their marriage and securing their vows, and people are out here tipping out. Because if I can't get it here, now I do not condone this mentality. But listen, if they're not getting it at home and that's something that they want, they going to go somewhere and find it. Please believe it. If you can't work through the counseling, to at least if you need to go to counseling, get some counseling. And I'm not talking about to them church folk that told you, got you in this state and in this mindset and this energy. So listen, how you gonna give him something that he can feel? This is all I'm saying. How is it that these people get married in the first place? Because we are taught. Now come on, I'm gonna come here. Women are taught almost like you have no value unless you have a mate. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. Women are taught as if they have no value unless they have a mate. And then after you get the mate and you've indoctrinated and traumatized them and made them fearful, you think you're going to have a 5-minute conversation with them before they get married and go on the honeymoon and say, now, baby, it's okay. No, you've already grilled and drilled, and these people are jacked up in their minds. I said what, and I'm talking about beautiful people. I don't mean anything hurtful or negative at all. I'm talking about at the end of the day, you have traumatized them so terribly with this idea and this energy that it doesn't just automatically remove its. You're happily worthless. Jazzy Mimi, it's good to see you. Well, but this is real talk. And this creates problems in relationships. And so this is something that we need to talk about and we need to address because again, we get into these ideas of the moral instructions that are given here and people get very, very hung up with them. I can't make this stuff up. I told you I've seen some things. I counseled and understood a scenario where, you know, the poor child was married to a preacher. And before, during, and after, everything is we gonna pray and we gonna thank the Lord and da da da. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. This ain't the time to be thanking the Lord. This is not time for altar call and prayer meeting. Oh my goodness. You know, but I'm telling you, this is, it's good to see you too. I'm telling you, this is how twisted to stay lifted. I can't make this stuff up. I cannot make this stuff up. And so at the end of the day, you know, she's twisted because she's like, whatever mood I was in, by the time he gets finished praying and thanking the Lord, I'm done. And I ain't talking about satisfied. I'm just done with the whole. So, you know, these are imbalances that we have created, and then nobody wants to talk about it and address it, and everybody's in divorce court and nobody will say anything, and then y'all split up and y'all just go and wreck up somebody else's life. Because listen, the issue still has not been resolved. You won't take off your panties and your drawers, and you over here trying to have prayer meeting while we having relations. So, you know, everybody's, if the blind lead the blind, everybody going to the ditch. So there you have it. Now, I wasn't trying to go there, but since I did, oh well. Been there, done that, but delivered. I hope this is helpful because I do understand that these are issues that are created. Dalen. You know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna, Well, listen, you ain't gonna have no meal if we can't get your drawers off. So anyway, there you have it. Now, at the end of the day, you just we have to have balance. We have to have balance. We have to have clarity. And when we start talking about the legalism and the rules and the regulations, and if it's okay after you get married, but da 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 da, we have to understand the impact of what we impress on people's minds, because even in a hidden way, and I'm gonna say this, uh, 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 I've known people that don't say anything outwardly, but in private conversation, in private counseling, even though they may be in a marital relationship, even though they may be in a healthy relationship for all practical purposes, they still have guilt inside. And you should not feel guilty, but that's real talk. That's real talk. And we have to identify what are we doing in the hearts and minds of our children to get them to the point where, they've got guilt feelings about everything. And again, sometimes when you come from those backgrounds about everything being wrong, what can I do? Nothing's right. Nothing is, and don't think that just because you plop a child in a different, or an adult in a different situation, if that's what they've been indoctrinated with and what's been ingrained in them from childhood, it doesn't just pop up out of their head and go away. So these are areas where we need to have real conversations. You need to have real conversations with your children. You need to have real conversations with, so that part, and or for all the folks that are out there still faking, because they cannot obtain the highest level of intimacy because there's too many blocks there. And this is real talk. This is real talk. And this is stuff that a lot of times has its origins from religion. It has its origins from dogmatic teaching, and it has its origins from people that do not teach sexual love and relationship in a healthy way. So that's real talk. That's real talk. Now, I hope I didn't offend anybody. If I did, I'm sorry. I can't say that I'm sorry, but uh, just pray for me if that's what you feel like you need to do. But I do believe that these are topics and conversations that need to be had. Now, then we went to the National Feast Day and instructions for that in Leviticus 23, and then Passover, which I think most of you, the church does cover Passover pretty thoroughly. I won't say that everything is accurate to it, because I had the blessing of being able to go and actually go to a Passover feast at my Jewish friend's home, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. It looks nothing like what we teach. It looks nothing like what we talk about. However, I at least felt like I had a general idea of what was going on, but it's so much more than that. Than what we know. But we do at least cover that concept in Christianity. Unleavened bread, we cover that as well. And the first fruits, we don't do as much, but we're starting to do. It needs to be discussed, Jazzy Mimi. It needs to be discussed. We will find some scratching the surface on first fruits, and that is the Feast of Weeks. And the idea there is, after you've planted, after you've gone in the field and planted, how many weeks before you actually start to see a yield of fruit. And that the Feast of Weeks is usually Pentecost, which is that 50 days, so you have those weeks that have passed by up to that 50th day, and you start to see fruit on the vine. So I think we cover that. We don't necessarily address it as much as far as understanding it like we do tithes and offering. I mean, we go to town on tithes and offering, and even that's twisted, but that's okay, because we don't talk about teruma, which is something that is also involved in there. There are many sick spiritual hospitals, and God is not pleased because it's producing ignorant saints. Come on with that, Cassandra. You're telling the truth. Now, what I do want to focus on is this idea and concept of familiar spirits. Now, why do I want to go here? I'm going to tell you why. I don't know about you, but this trend of everybody being a witch and a warlock, I'm sick of it. Now, I may lose some people here, but stay with me. Stay with. Do I believe in the spirit of what we call a spirit of witchcraft? I believe that you can operate in the spirit of witchcraft. Witchcraft is the attempt and the means, the intent to manipulate someone to do something that we want them to do, even if it's against their will. Now, with that definition of understanding what witchcraft is about, the church operates in a whole lot of witchcraft. However, this new trend that we have of calling everybody witches and warlocks, I'm sick of it. Now, I've personally been a victim of this. I had an individual that left my ministry, and of course, you know they're not gonna leave. Yes, they do, because if my aunt put your name in the Bible and Psalms, then some things is gonna work itself out permanently. Come on here, Dalen. So, I hear you. I hear you. I'm the energy, the energy is available to work in anybody. Come on. Well, that's true, KB Browns. It is an element of witchcraft. If you're going to go to that extent, if you're going to really understand what manipulation is about. So, uh, and she been on the usher board for 97. You on one tonight, girl. She been on the usher board for 97 years at her local church. Listen, there's a whole lot of manipulation. I've seen parents who operate in a spirit of witchcraft because they try to manipulate their children's behaviors and their outcomes and who they're with and who they are not with. And, you know, I've seen pastors, there was a church that was notorious for matchmaking. And they would go and they would tell you supposed to marry this person and you supposed to, and these people were marrying each other just because pastor said, baby, if that ain't witchcraft, I don't know what is. Come on, truck driver. This idea of manipulating outcomes that you want to see regardless to the individual that you're dealing with. All right. So at the same time, this whole energy that we currently have where people are running around calling folks witches and warlocks, that part, that's what I'm trying to address here. Now, and I want us to be clear. I want us to be clear. We talk about, there's a scripture that talks about for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. This whole idea that in spite of what is and what is going to be, I'm going to rebel and I'm going to make my way. I'm going to have my way. Listen, the Love Connection Church, KB Browns, I'm telling you, the pastor told everybody in the church who they were going to marry, and they married each other. I'm just like, y'all kidding me, right? And 99% of the marriages did not work. They struggled, they fought, they did everything under the sun. You had LGBTQ folk that were undercover, that were marrying other sex, and at the end of the day, it's a matter of fact, I saw many instances where both sides were LGBTQ and they were marrying male and female. I was like, it was a whole hot mess. But it was all manipulated by the pastor. My mother was so strung along by people who practice witchcraft and sorcery. I grew up watching it. But God, come on, Jazzy Mimi, come on. I want to talk about this familiar spirit element because I want us, especially in these days and times, while we're running around calling everybody witches and warlocks, I want you to understand anybody and everybody has the ability, if we are not careful and cautious, to operate in that energy. That does not make you a witch and a warlock. And why that has become so trendy right now, I'm gonna tell you. So at the end of the day, you know, you mad at me, so you gonna get on the internet and make a public announcement, a public service announcement to the people all across the brotherhood because you mad. And now I didn't come back and expose, you know, the real because that's not the internet is not for that. That's not what social media is for. But you mad and you want to go out and what's the first thing? She's a witch. You know what? Oh my and God. So, you know, I'm telling you, and even that, and I want you to hear what I'm saying. That behavior right there is the behavior of witchcraft. And let me explain to you how and why. Because you are attempting to influence a whole group of people that may have had respect and care and like and love for me. Your goal in coming out and announcing I'm a witch is expressly for the purpose of manipulating and using witchcraft to get people that did like me to dislike me. Oh, I said something right there. The very accusation that you're getting on the internet making about me is actually a manifestation of you operating in witchcraft. Does anybody understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? You're the one that's operating in witchcraft because your whole sole purpose is to turn people's minds and energy against me. At the end of the day, I said nothing. And I still have nothing to say because we see what we see. So, and you understand, truck driver? And so ultimately, it backfired. Now, folks that are weak-minded bought right into it. And you know what I say about that? They wanted to find something wrong with me anyway. You do not, listen, folks, do not, hear me. Do not get yourself in a situation where you're trying to prove to people that you are not what they said you are, because that's not going to do anything but fuel the fire, because if they believed it to begin with, something in them wanted to believe it anyhow. Do you understand what I'm saying? If they fell into the trap of believing it, something in them was already wanting to believe that anyway. And the more that you fuss, spit, and argue trying to prove it wrong, the more they're going to galvanize themselves against you. And yes, she is. I believe it's some truth in that. Come on, Crystal Method. I believe it's because you wanted to believe there was some truth in it. You wanted to believe something evil. You wanted to believe something twisted. You wanted to believe something. Well, she looks good on the surface, but there's got to be something, because ain't nobody just, I can't put my finger on it, but it's got to be something, because you want to find something. But that's your own. Can I say this? When people show that kind of energy, you are really showing what's inside of yourself, not what's inside of me. You're showing what's inside of you. The suspicion, the negativity, all of this willingness to think something wicked, low down, and evil, that's in you. You're really mirroring what's inside yourself. Come on, y'all talking to me. Let me come up and see what you all got. I see you, Crystal Method. Cassandra, you got that right. The town crier is, come on, I'm telling you. My sister-in-law did it to me, and now she wants to act like she did nothing wrong. And listen, they'll be the first one to come out looking innocent and try to be the victim and go around like they've been victimizing all the while. And this is the thing I said. Let me go ahead and read the rest of this. I'm going to come back to that, truck driver. That is the goal of the enemy, to create chaos and distraction in an attempt to control others. And therein lies the witchcraft. Therein lies the witchcraft. Come on here. That's exactly, Jazzy Mimi, where the witchcraft lies. Believe whatever you want and go mind your own business. And that's why, listen, I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, because I don't have to prove anything to anybody but the Lord at the end of the day. And he knows my name, and he knows my frame, and he knows exactly what I do, my uprising, my downsitting, my downfalls, and everything else. He knows. Ain't no question about it. And at the end of the day, the only person that I'm concerned about when I close my eyes every night that I'm in right standing with is God. Y'all can call me a demon from hell. I don't care. Because if the Lord knows my name and the Lord knows who, listen, nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure. Having this seal, the Lord knows them that are his. You can say I don't belong to the Lord all day long. It means it's a race. Right now, baby. Entire set, man. Going up to the whole entire set. In my last family. Let's see, it's called the set. Dr. Daddy Priest. I told them that you were on. God bless you, sis. Listen, this is the high priestess. We've been raided by the engagers, and they had a beautiful session going on over there. And I had to leave to come into the Bible study, and I still had you pinned up on my tab, Dr. Dady. Dr. Dady Priest is a phenomenal streamer. You all know I typically don't stop in the middle of my conversations to talk, but I definitely want to acknowledge the high priestess and all of those that came in with Dr. Dady Priest. Nothing but mad love to you. I will call your names one by one and name by name after we finish. I usually will go through with no interruptions in the conversation once we get started, but I must acknowledge my sister and all of those that came over with Dr. Dady in this raid. Blessings to you and mad love. Just to bring you up to speed, we are talking about familiar spirits and spiritual witchcraft. I love me some you, Dr. Dady. Thank you for coming in, and all of those that rode the raid train. Mad love to you, and I will acknowledge you before this night is over. But we were talking about familiar spirits and people that operate in witchcraft and manipulation. So this is the thing that I want us to understand. And for all those 25 viewers that rode the raid train, I'm sending you nothing but mad love and welcome, welcome, welcome. The Pharisees called Jesus Beelzebub. That part, KB Browns, the Pharisees called Jesus Beelzebub. Talking about he's casting out the devil because he is the devil. He's casting out the devil by the devil. But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, it's only Beelzebub, the prince of demons, that this fellow drives out demons. That's what I said, KB Browns. Thank you for putting the scripture reference in there. So this is where I want us to understand. At the end of the day, you spending time trying to convince people about who you are and what you're about is, to me, a waste of your time, energy, and effort. Because again, as I said, the scripture that said that nevertheless the foundation of God standeth sure. The Lord knoweth them that are his. Having this seal, the Lord knows those that are his. I don't feel compelled. Listen, I had a situation where folks got to talking and running their mouths. And then somebody said, and listen, avoid foolish and unlearned questions. And sometimes y'all need to avoid people that are trying to call a meeting to call you in to question. And I'm not talking about just leadership. I'm talking about just in general. Folks want to call you into question for what? And who has given you the authority to call me into question? And why is my life so important to you that you feel like you need to come? And especially with the whole collection of people. But these are people that feel that they are empowered some way, somehow, to speak on behalf of and try to take you. Satan is an accuser of the brethren. I said what I said. Satan is an accuser of the brethren. So if I can bring you into an accusation and make you feel like you have to defend it, and I had one person, because I have nothing to say. So one person said to me, oh, it must be true because you're not defending yourself. You can think whatever you want to think, because at the end of the day, as my mother said, I'm not going to waste my breath because I'm going to need that breath someday. I'm not going to waste my breath because I'm going to need that breath someday. And we have to be careful of people that try to bait us. B-A-I-T, bait us. Even that's manipulation. Come on here. Y'all understand the words? Come on, Dr. Dady. I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to need that breath someday. I'm not going to waste it on you. Let your light shine because you can't make it shine on your own. Come on. So this is where I want us to understand. Get yourselves anchored and don't worry about the people, because listen, just like KB Brown said, all the good and all the holiness, and there was no sin, not even any guile found in his mouth. What did they call him? Beelzebub. He's Beelzebub because he's casting out the demons and the devils because he is the devil. He's casting out the devil by the devil. Do you think Jesus lost sleep over that? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Do you think that Jesus did not stop and argue and debate? Listen, all Jesus did was just allow them to keep on. Step back and watch what I do. Watch what I do. If you can find evil and wickedness out of Jesus slept like a baby, KB Browns. Slept like a baby. And so I want to encourage you in that. Do not allow people to disturb your rest. Do not allow people to disturb your peace because of what the people said. Baby, my daddy said there's a whole lot of wonders out here, but a lot of it is lying wonders. And while we're getting caught up in lying wonders and trying to prove, but that's a lie. They lying on me. Baby, don't even waste your breath. That's my recommendation. Because the more you go back and try to talk to folk, honey, the more they're going to get carried away with their own sense of what's in their heart. And I'm going to say it once more and again. When you come out and you have all these negative ideas and energies about everybody else, it's really a reflection of what's in your heart. The Bible says, to the pure, all things are pure, but to the fearful and unbelieving is nothing pure. I didn't say that. The Bible said, to the pure, all things are pure, but to the fearful and unbelieving is nothing pure. So you can be as pure as, what was it? What was the soap that is pure, 100% pure, 99 and 99, 100% pure? I can't even remember what commercial that was, but they had a soap back in the day when I was a child. Was it Dove? It's 99 and 99 Ivory. Thank you, Dalen. And 99 and 99, 100% pure. Listen, you can be, I thank you, Ivory soap. I appreciate you. So you can be Ivory soap pure, and somebody's going to still see you defiled and wicked. So why spend your time? And I'm going to say it once more and again, to get your attention and distract yourself by feeling like you owe them an explanation, your time, energy, and effort. That is manipulation. That, come on, C Love 702. That is manipulation. And you'll find people are pushing those buttons because they're trying to manipulate you. And if you don't respond to their manipulation, that just drives them crazier. That just drives them just off the deep end. They just cannot. When they just keep on trying to push your buttons and cannot push your buttons, baby, no weapon formed against me is going to prosper. That includes your little manipulating in the witchcraft and the ability that you're trying to move in and trying to get me to a point where I'm responding and I'm deviating from joy and joy more life and life more abundantly. Listen, what did Nehemiah say? I'm doing a good work and I can't come down. Why should I come down to you? And some of you need to get that energy about yourselves, especially when it starts coming to people's ability to manipulate you in every season, in every way, in your mind, in your emotions. And you need to get that energy like Nehemiah when he said, and why should I come down to you? I'm doing a good work and I can't come down. Why should I try to explain to you? Am I talking to anybody? I'm doing a good work and I can't come down. Baby, when folks were calling me from the north, south, east, and west. Do you see? Did you hear? Do you know? I don't care. I'm not even going. Listen, I didn't waste the time to go out on the internet to see what was said. Why? Because it matters not at all. It means absolutely, positively nothing to me. And at the end of the day, what ends up happening is that the reflection and the negativity is on the person that's doing all the talking. Now, in the event that I go out there and start trying to defend my name and defend my reputation and defend, I don't, no, ma'am, no, sir. Keep bumping your gums. Keep talking. Keep running at the mouth. Keep on with the diarrhea of the lips. I shall not be moved. Am I talking to anybody? These are places that we really have to get anchored so that we do not succumb to the areas of people trying to push our buttons and manipulate. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Now this is it right here, KB Brown. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Now that's the book. And that's a passage we had to memorize as a child. And I'm going to tell you what, it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When folks start running you down and running down your name, that's your time to rejoice and be exceedingly glad. Hey, Come on here. And again, why should I come down to you? I'm doing a good work and I can't come down. I don't need to explain not one thing. Baby, them folks that called me into question were hot. And I have nothing to say to you. And what you have done, y'all listen to me. What you've done is really shown me your hand because I see what your mind is about. Am I talking to anybody? So I strive to be where you are let me see this, Dalen, every day. And hopefully one day I will be that person. But I'm honest, I'm definitely going to go out and confront the accuser and probably put the holy smack down. Not the holy smack down. Put the holy smack down on them. But that's just me. Listen, at the end of the day, tell the truth and shame the devil. Listen, if that's where you are, that's where you are, Dalen. I'm not mad. I love you for your truthfulness. I love you for your sincerity. But at the end of the day, this is an element of, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm not trying to give it to them, see love, cause I see y'all, and I hear you, but this is where I have to digress. Let every man be persuaded in his own mind. But I feel like for me, the moment I make that reaction, then that for me is a question of whether or not people can see my good works and then change that. Oh, there's a scripture that I want to pull out that I'm trying to think of. It's not coming to me right away. I thought about it initially, but it talks about your good works. Let not your good works be evil spoken of. Somebody can look that up and put it in the chat. Let not your good works be evil spoken of. At that point, I think to give an inch and let that crack show up in the foundation gives people the opportunity to speak evil of your good works. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and that's not to say, Dalen, that I've always been 100%. I'm always striving. Now, when it comes to people talking about me, I genuinely don't care. I don't care. Other things get me riled up, but people talking about me, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I walk in this energy. You don't know me anyway. There are very few people that really, really, really know me. Very, very, very few. And I've been around and encountered tons and tons and tons of people. Believe that. But there are very few people that really know me. And so you can say whatever you want to say. My end reaction to that is you don't know me, and I don't owe you that I have to show you who I am. I don't owe you that. And I'll do what you want to do, say what you want to say. It means absolutely nothing to me. And so that is an area that I am. It used to bother me. And I will say that, therefore, do not let your right hand. Was that what somebody put in there? It jumped off before I got a chance to see it all the way. But I'm looking for, if somebody puts in the scripture, don't let your good works be evil spoken of. It says something to that effect, if somebody can find. Therefore, do not let what you know is good. Okay, it's just another version of it, KB Browns. Thank you. Romans 14:16. It's just another version. Y'all hear me quoting King James because that's really what I was taught and raised on. That looks like it might be a version of an NIV or New Revised Standard or something like that. So, at the end of the day, you have to, again, have a particular persuasion in yourself. if you're that one and that's your personality that you just feel like you need to go out and confront everybody, hey, uh, that's all fine and good. Uh, Now, I am not saying let things that are people being said or done and not addressing issues, but if you're talking about you talking about me and saying stuff about me, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. You can say whatever you want. Listen, I'm like Vicky Winans. I've been lied on, cheated, talked about, mistreated, Buke scorned, talked about sure as you're born. I've been up, down, level to the ground. But honey, as long as I got King Jesus, and I do need more than Jesus, but I'm just saying from the standpoint. There you go. Let not your good be evil spoken of. That's the version that my brain knows. KB Browns. Thank you for that. Um, I don't care because it doesn't. You don't matter to me that much. And when I say that I love you, I love what you're about. But when it comes to me and you want to say and act and speak something evil against me, especially for the purpose of trying to manipulate me, you don't mean that much to me. Not like that. Not like that. If I'm making sense, Dalen. You don't hold that much power and sway over my life. I'm not gonna let you have that much power and sway over my life because you're just not that important to me. Not like that. So say what you're gonna say. Spread whatever rumors you're gonna spread. It doesn't matter. It changes not one hair on my head. It doesn't change one thing that I've done, said, or act. It doesn't change any of that. And at the end of the day, this is my ultimate foundation to that. God knows the truth. So you can say whatever you want to say about me. And that's what I'm dealing with here. And the ability where we get into the place where we feel like we have to respond. I do not have to respond to you. I do not have to respond to you. I do not. I do not have to respond to you. I've always had that problem of the laying on of hands. Seriously. Not just for me. My problem was I was always against the bullies, but my parents came in at the end of the fight, so they thought I was causing a problem. I got you, Stacy. Good to see you. I got and a lot of times if I just deal with that piece. Let's deal with that piece. How many times, just like Stacy is describing here, you may have just cause to lay hands. But then people are going to come in at the end of the scenario, and all they're going to see is the end of the scenario. And without asking questions, without getting informed, without getting details, they'll go out and they'll start maligning your name and saying things about you based on, child, I never thought I would see spiritual thought leader do anything like that, and da 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 da. And just like that, at that point, people feel like they are justified in their issue of what they're saying about me, and they feel like that behavior has then given them credibility to go out and talk about me like a dog with two tails because they saw what they saw, but they didn't see what preceded that and what actually caused that. They just saw what they saw, and that's all they needed to take and pick up and run with. And at that point, you have a whole devastation to your name, your character, and everything else. And for what? And for what? You've been labeled with that so many times. Come on in, truck driver. Come on. And with that being said, I change every day, so it's not telling who's going to show up. So be ready. Say, come on, Dalen. And I love you for your transparency. And at that point, that's between I am not. And people, please believe me when I say I am not your judge, your jury, your executioner, or anything else. That's between you and the Lord. I have nothing, absolutely, positively nothing to do with however that works in you. All right. I'm just the topic we're dealing with tonight is really the ability to not be manipulated by people, to not allow them to push your buttons and respond outside of your character, to get you to respond outside of, is it necessary? Listen, folks, everything does not require a response from you. Everything
Welcome.
does not require a response from you. Keys Play, thank you for following. So much appreciation, and welcome to the Lion's Den. Everything does not require a response. Oh, there's definitely a time to act. Very interesting. Come on, versus react. And I agree. And so Areas where we may be a work in process is one thing. Other things is a matter of this is who I am. It needs to be addressed, whatever the case may be. My point tonight, again, for anybody that came in, you had to learn that, truck driver. Everything does not need to be responded to. Everything doesn't deserve a response. My mother used to say, listen, now y'all hear me quote all these quotes from my mother, my father, and them. This is good stuff. My mother would say, I'm not going to dignify that with an answer. So maybe some of you all have heard that old time saying, I'm not going to dignify that with an answer. Meaning, I'm not, and again, I'm not going to waste my breath because I'm going to need that breath someday. I'm not going to dignify that with an answer. To answer it, it gives it some credence. Like it's a credible question. No, it's not. I'm not going to dignify that with an answer. I'm going to keep on moving just like you said nothing because you just well be talking to the wind. I did not and will not stop and entertain what you're talking about. I will not stop and entertain your accusations. I will not stop and entertain, even though we talk about the matchmaking, Dr. Dady, we were talking about the church I went to where the pastor told everybody who to marry, which is definitely manipulation, which is definitely, because I used to smile and cut you at the same time. Come on, truck driver. Listen, at the end of the day, I have nothing for you. Listen, yes, Dr. Dady, it was a whole mess. At the end of the day, listen, Rebel said, sometimes I wish you'd just go ahead and cuss me out because you not cussing me out is worse than if you would. Some of us can bless you real good. We can bless you real good. Real good. Without one cuss word. So you say, pass you an inhaler because you lost your breath. Dr. Dady, listen, without one use of profanity anywhere. But this, do you and what you're putting forth, does it even require my energy being given to it? And if you're trying to manipulate, listen, can I say this? Because at the end of the day, what did KB Brown say? Let me jump back up here. I think I missed some comments. Let me see. I'm telling you, you have to come to a place where you recognize, and we're talking about these ability to manipulate people and use it as witchcraft. This is a place where you have to realize and recognize some folks have been sitting and plotting and planning a long time their method of entrapment. Hear what I'm saying. People have been waiting a long time, thinking a long time, scheming a long time, a method of entrapment, just so your good can be evil spoken of. I said a whole lot right there. Now somebody needs to receive that down in your shondo, because that's the truth. I mean, on their bed at night, when they should be asleep, they're plotting and planning your downfall and your demise and how to entrap you to make you look bad. Am I talking to anybody? And I know what I'm saying is the truth. I know what I'm saying is the truth. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. Setting up snares, Crystal Method. Setting up snares, truck driver. Come on, let me talk to you, sir. Because I don't want you to fall into this entrapment. I don't want you to fall into the snare. Because basically, some people, listen, truck, all of this that God has done for you and all the places, for those of you that don't know, and Truck gave me permission to do this on yesterday, so I'm not doing anything without his permission. Truck driver had a stroke on Thursday. I believe it was either Thursday or Friday. Truck driver had a stroke. He didn't know he was having a stroke. His wife caught it. They were just getting ready to pull off in the car. We've been talking about miracle signs and wonders, y'all. I believe that thing with all my heart. And it would be so that they caught the stroke. They ended up getting him to the hospital in time. His face was completely twisted. His mouth, it was Thursday. That's what I thought. His mouth was completely twisted. They were able to get the shot to him in time for him not to have the long-term effects and to stop any further debilitation from happening. Oh, I feel Jesus right now. Hey, my God, today. I got a chance to talk to him while he was in ICU on the phone. And we chatted back and forth. I did the texting because he didn't even have the strength and the mobility to text. But look what God has done. So I just want to stop and give that praise report right there before I say another word. That's my truck driver. That's my Mufasa. But this is what I want to say to you, truck. And we're praising God for the recovery all day, all night. We are Crystal Method because nobody but God. When I tell you it was only God that did not allow this to go way left in so many other ways, even right down to him being behind the wheel of the car. But God caught it before he actually got that car into motion. Honey, that was nothing but God. So, truck, I want to speak directly to you. When you say I'm talking to you, I'm going to take this opportunity since you said talk to me, and I'm going to talk to you. You and I know, not even that situation, but this is a miracle that God did for you Thursday through today. So this is where I want to say to you, you know how far God has brought you from. You know all of the things that God has brought you out of. You glory to God. Hallelujah. Oh my God, I feel Jesus in this place. You know how far God has brought you from all of the danger seen and unseen. You know how God delivered you out of lifestyles, out of scenarios with people and all of that was your past. And we all know you should have been dead. Or at least you and I know you should have been dead a long time ago. And how God delivered you out of the hand of the enemy without the enemy coming. Because you know what you came out of. They don't let folks just walk away. They will kill you graveyard dead. They're not going to let you just walk away. Now, hey, hallelujah. But all of this that God has brought you through, truck, do you not know that the adversary would love to have an opportunity to entrap you to speak evil and say, see, I knew it wasn't real. See, I knew. And come on, Stacy. And suddenly, come on here. I want you to understand the trap, the enactment of how can I get this brother to make him look bad? How can I, baby, do you understand that your very existence and breath and life on this planet is a testimony? My God, today. Come on, truck. Hey! Woo! My. And this is what, Dalen, this is the kind of stuff that I'm saying. You don't want to lose your witness with people because just like truck driver, people are watching us. They're looking at us. And even though we're not doing it for people, at the end of the day, let your light so shine before men so they can see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. It's not about trying to say to the people, watch me shine, but shine and let them watch you shine because they will glorify God. They will glorify your Father which is in heaven. Because even when they tried to push your buttons, when they tried to talk bad about you, when they tried to engage you into a smackdown, when they tried to engage you into a cussing out, when they tried to engage you and they were not successful, then what can they say other than, listen, she's different, he's different. They're not even the same person. Truck, you and I both know you're not the same truck driver I met 4 years ago. You're not the same. You're not the same. And this is what, when I talk about having the ability for people to see a difference in you. You're not like everybody else. You don't respond like everybody else. You don't let folks push your buttons. You don't, and even to the extent in the testimony, I knew there was a time when I could push Regina's buttons, but I can't even push her buttons no more. No, you cannot. No, you, honey, no, sir, no, ma'am. Go ahead and get on the internet. Go ahead and get, honey, broadcast it to the highest heaven. I don't care, because at the end of the day, he knows my name. Hey, he knows my name. He knows my uprising. He knows my down sitting. He knows my downfalls. And I keep saying that because he does. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Am I talking to anybody? Come on, first time Keys Place. Good to see you in here. And honey, that love is there. It does not matter. Woo. You're not going to push my buttons. You're not going to manipulate me. You're not going to move me in the area and arena of witchcraft and divination. And you're not going to do it. No weapon formed against me can prosper. That's why I tell people I'm not scared. I had this conversation with someone else some time ago. You ain't scared of witches and people putting No, I'm not. No, I'm not. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even the enemy, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. I'm not worried about your attempts to operate in witchcraft against me. And you know what? And I tell people this all the time. God will show me the plot and the plan before it unfolds. And sometimes I've been in the very midst of it. And God will say, I want you to open your eyes and look at what's going on. And reveal it as plain as day. Am I talking to anybody? Am I talking to anybody? Come on, sing it. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? He will do it, Crystal Method. He will reveal that plot, that plan, and make it plain. He will do it. I tell people, the Lord reveals stuff to me. I'm not even looking for it. And God has just put it out there live and in living color. All the actors involved, what was said behind closed doors, who said what and who did what and who to keep. I'm telling you, I'm not, and I don't have to go out and be lurking and sneaking and trying to, baby, God will reveal it as plain as day. And then confirm it. So not even on one tiny Peter moment against those fools. Listen, come on, KB Browns. Come on, Dr. Dady. I'm telling you what God will do. If you will get into that relationship, because that's the key that we're pressing here, is the relationship with God. If I'm in relationship with God and God is my covering, listen, I'm covered, my God, I'm covered under the robes. I'm covered under the hand. I'm covered under the mighty power and the glory of God. I'm not worried about who's setting a plot, plan, and a snare and a trap. I'm not, because at the end of the day, you ain't even gonna have to deal with me. You're gonna have to deal with my husband, the Holy One of Israel. That's my husband. Y'all ain't ready for me. That's the book. That's the Bible. It's in Isaiah. Come on here. The Holy One of Israel. That's my husband. And y'all out here trying to fight for yourselves and trying to listen, but I look at folks and I watch and I've seen it happen time and time again. I didn't have to say a word, and the Lord God fights for me. And at the end of the day, I'll sit and look at and tell them in my mind while I'm looking at them, your arms are too short to fight with my God. Your arms are too short to fight with my God. You trying to box the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I don't have to fight. And I'm going to say this. The one who knows all and sees all, KB Browns. You would think that with the miracle I received, I would react the same. But for some reason, I will smack the out of somebody. I really need to work on it. Well, maybe this is why the Lord had you just kind of slip in here right now this evening so we can encourage you along that line. And there's no judgment at all. But I'm saying we all have opportunities for growth. We all have opportunities to come up higher. If this is an area, this just happens to be an area for me. Talking about me and trying to manipulate me. No. Because I've gone through a lifetime of that. And one thing I'm not going to go back to is somebody manipulating and controlling my world. That's what I refuse. I refuse to go back to that. The real ride or die. Ride and died, yet he lives. Come on here, Crystal Method. You better talk in here. Trying to fight a fight that has already been won. Come on here, Truck. Come on, Dr. Dady. And this is what I said. While we talk about all of the, so many y'all that's in warfare, you always want to hook yourself up with warfare. Listen, the Holy One of Israel is my husband, and he is the King of Kings. And I think any husband and king that's going to make his bride go out and fight for herself, what kind of husband and king are you? I said what I said, and I'll add to it if I take it back. I'm going to say it once more and again. The Holy One of Israel is my husband, and my husband is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. What kind of king and husband is going to send his bride out to go fight for herself? I don't have to fight. Y'all not buying what I'm selling. I don't have to fight. While you're trying to defend your name and defend your character, I don't have to fight. Ooh, am I talking to anybody? Because ultimately, my point is this. I'm not going to be manipulated. Going back to the point of where we started, it's about manipulation and control. We got down the rabbit hole on a tangent. But the issue is about the manipulation and the control and people that are using divination and familiar spirits. Hello. For the Lord your God is who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you the victory. Come on, KB Browns. See, that's my scripture partner right there, because he's going to put it in there. He's going to put it in the chat. That part right there. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you the victory. Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? And you fighting may be you in the way of him having access directly to your enemy without hitting you. Can I say that again? You fighting may in fact be you in the way of him getting your enemies to make sure he doesn't hit you while he's trying to get the enemy. Am I talking to anybody in here? Woo. I know sometimes this isn't what we want to hear. But again, the emphasis for anybody that's come in at the very end is about relationship with God. Not just being, I'm talking about intimate relationship with God. Let God cover you. Let God fight for you. Let God protect and defend you and your name. Because you know what? When my name is his name, and God's going to defend his name, and he's going to deal with the situation. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run in and are safe. In the name. Come on here. These aren't just scriptures. And that's why I said what I want to deal with are how we can apply this practically, not just come on, you're moving yourself out the way. Talk to me, Crystal Method. Not just read scriptures and they don't really have any means for application, and how do I make this 2025, and how does this work in my life? And we're not just reading words off of a page. There is significance here to get you to your best place. Listen, I was in a situation where the person who wronged me this past weekend expected me to act out. Was I hurt? Yes. Once I processed it and let go, God kept my mind, mouth, and my character intact. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Dr. Dady. You better testify. About to make me knock all my stuff off the shelf. I was in a situation, if you didn't hear it, where the person who wronged me this past weekend expected me to act out. Was I hurt? Yes. Once I processed it and let go, God kept my mind, mouth, and character intact. Now that's a whole word right there. No weapon that's formed against us can prosper, and every tongue that rises against it shall be condemned in judgment. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and the righteousness or vindication is from me, declares the Lord. Come on, KB Browns, you better put that word in there. I need you all to get this in your spirit so you can process it as a point of reality, not just words on in a book from a scripture. What does this mean, and how does it work in my life? How does it actively work in my life? How does it actively work in my relationship with God? Got you, Jazzy Mimi. Thank you so much, and so much love to you. Thank you for coming in. So this is where I want us to have a real relational situation, not just lip service. And we can ready to get out of here. Oh my goodness, I'm really over. I'm really over. Uh, 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 Many have to do better in this area, and it's a goal. You can reach it. You will reach it, KB Browns. It's a goal. You will reach it. As long as your heart wants to, you will reach it. Okay? We have the ability. We have the power. We have the wherewithal. All we need is the want to. Do you want to? All right. So at the end of the day, I'm going to get ready to get out of here too. I appreciate everybody that's in here. And thank you for identifying your areas of opportunity for growth and development. We all have areas. We all have. Now, this just happens to be an area that I'm very strong in. And listen, even this last year has made me stronger. Sometimes you got to go out of commission so you can get your strength back. Samson had to grow his hair back. Sometimes you need to just sit down somewhere and let your hair grow back. But this is a situation in an area that, please believe me, I got this one. Come on, Dr. Dady. Come on, C Love. So, and we continue to grow and we continue to develop. And it's all good. I'm gonna come through, and I just want to speak to those that came in, and I'm gonna do what I can here because my thing doesn't want to. My mouse wants to jump all over the place, but I want to say Cassandra, Dalen, truck driver, stay lifted, Dr. Dady Priest, and everybody that came in with Dr. Dady, Crystal Method, Jazzy Mimi is out the door, but we appreciate her. KB Browns, come on in here. Miss Ice to you. Come on, Joso Fab, I see you. Come on, Psalmist 4. Psalmist 4 has been coming in. I knew you said you were going to be lurking. Thank you so much. And you've been in the last couple of nights. Mish 8. Come on in here. Double Spirit 08. I'm trying to get if I miss anybody, it's only because as this is jumping around, I didn't see you. But I want to appreciate everybody that came. I believe Dr. Dady came over with about 24 people or so, if not more. To each of you, for anybody that's still here, Stacy 546, it's great to see you tonight. For those that don't know, I don't typically acknowledge people while I'm in the study. I usually will do it at the very beginning or at the very end, but once we start the teaching, we'll still usually stay there. Come on, One Reason. That's the Bishop of Twitch. So happy to see you. So much love coming to you always. C Love, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us on tonight. Coming on down. And for anybody that doesn't know, Cassandra, I don't know if I mentioned you, but I'm so glad that you're in the chat and you've been with me since first thing this evening. I appreciate you. If I missed, I'm scrolling real fast. I don't think I've missed anybody else. These names are repeating. If I've missed anyone, please charge it to my eyes that I didn't see you. We meet here every evening at 6 o'clock for Bible study. We started off talking about sex, didn't we? For those, believe it or not, we started off talking about sex and had some good teaching right there. Pisces, come on. Good to see you. Pisces 20th century. So much love to you. From a biblical perspective. And moved on into familiar spirits, the spirits of divination. Oh, Stacy 546, it was on spirits of divination and witchcraft. So thank you all for coming in. I hope this was helpful. If anybody has any questions, I hope that I've not confused anybody. Whether it was on the sexual context and conversation that we had, if that's an area that we need to talk about, hit me up afterwards, or on witchcraft, divination, and familiar spirits. And manipulation and control. That's ultimately, let's break it down to just what it is. This is walk through the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. And we are doing it in chronological order. We're using both Reese's Chronological Bible as well as Tyndall's. So at the end of the day, I want to appreciate you for coming in. We'll be back tomorrow night. I am way over my time. I hope this has been helpful, though. I know I'm way past the time. We're usually in and out by now. I want to appreciate Dr. Dady for the wonderful raid. I thank you and I appreciate you for bringing your family over to us. If for those of you that are traveling on, we don't usually raid out anywhere. We just dispense and disperse. So if you'd like to continue on in Twitch, this will be the end of the journey here with us. I appreciate you once more and again for coming. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Nothing but love to you and peace for your journey.